There is so many mysteries within the sewers. There's a lot more to the sewers than just Ninja Turtles and space clowns.
What?
There's also poop. From the underground on this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 Yay.
Hello and welcome to the show from down below. Attack of the Killer Podcast. This is episode 287, and we will be talking about movies from the underground. Wait, I don't mean underground films, like, indie films. I mean like underground,
like August Underground, right?
No, not like August Underground.
Like unknown horror movies, right?
No, I'm talking about stuff under the ground.
Like stuff Vinegar Syndrome sells that like Brian and Brian are always buying.
The Bryan twins.
No, not water power.
Oh, like physically under the ground.
Yes, like monsters that come up from under the earth and attack you and kill you and eat you.
Okay.
So it doesn't be digital underground.
Why didn't you just say that, Mike?
I was trying. Attack of the Killer Podcast is a horror movie podcast where a group of friends get together and talk about horror movies. We don't just randomly talk about movies. We come up with a topic and we discuss films within that topic.
Maybe not bonus episodes so we don't do that, but
Yeah, how ironic. I put that in my
that is so
description
funny.
this time.
Anyway, the greatest bonus episode ever recorded was last week. So.
That's right. So if you like our show, you should become an attacker. If you go to jointheattackers.com, you can pick your option to help support the show. And as an attacker, you get all kinds of extra content, exclusive only to you guys, the attackers. You can get such perks as bonus episodes, our YouTube shows, Killer Critiques, Insane Mike's 1 Minute Top 10 list, and video updates. You can get a membership card, sticker, and certificates. You can even get a t-shirt and even original art by me. You also can get exclusive invites to our monthly horror hangout, watch parties, and even our chat called Attack of the Killer Chat.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, but there's even more.
What?
Mucho.
The best part is you will be among the coolest crowd of people on the planet, such as...
Oh, like these guys. Timothy Lennerer, Roman Doppelfeld, Larry Watanabe, Brett Royer, Seth Key, Jessica Irish, Chris Cook, Brian Godzilla, Stephen Sitter, Brandy Moore, Andrew Moeller, Rod Hutchinson, Carmen DeHague, Abraham Moreno, Jacob Book, Andrew Bentler, Casey Kelderman, Tony Miller, Mike Clayton, Rose Teleshoma, Marcus Rude, Abe Kirshner, Lisa Cavalier, Holly Berg, Emily Randolph, and Bill Fisher. What a list.
That is an amazing
I
list
love
of
them all.
people, and you can become part of that crew too. Just go to jointheattackers.com, pick the tier that best suits you, and become an attacker today. That is jointheattackers.com. And now it is time to introduce you to the podcast crew. He's very knowledgeable about drainage systems. He has studied them all his life. You can say he's a connoisseur. Tad.
Oh, Jesus.
Well done. Hey guys, thanks for listening. And sorry.
He used to work in a coal mine. One day the mine collapsed, but everyone got out okay. It was just a minor inconvenience. Andy.
Hey, everybody. Please keep listening.
We're begging now.
There was a huge sinkhole that appeared in his neighborhood. He doesn't know how it happened, but he's looking into it. He planned to do research on the hole, but they fell through. Jason!
Hi, matey. I come from the land down under.
You got two jokes.
Wait a minute. And you guys are giving me shit about intros after that? After that impersonation?
It was awful. I'm so happy I did it.
It's almost on like my bad level of
It was.
impersonation, so.
Almost.
And speaking of Australians, here's Tad with what we watched.
All right, we're just gonna start right off. Jason, since he did that
I was
awesome
hoping you'd do
impersonation.
one too.
What have you watched, mate?
There you go. I've seen a couple things. I watched the new John Mulaney stand-up special, Baby J.
Oh, I watched it too. That is so funny.
It's great. It's just great. I mean, I appreciate him. I like when I don't like when a comic goes through some shit,
Yeah.
but I always appreciate when the next one back
They're honest.
they're honest.
Yeah. They
You
just lay
know,
it all out.
They
Yeah.
lay it out there, and he definitely fucking did that, and was his amazing, hilarious self when he did it. It's so
When he
good.
dresses that 8-year-old that's in the
I
audience
know
right
it.
out of the gate.
And then that's on Netflix. And then I watched on Hulu. That's the only other thing I've watched. It is a horror type of show movie from Matt Ruskin. It's Boston Strangler.
Okay.
Stars Keira Knightley and Carrie Coon, and Chris Cooper's in there. And
Chris Cooper and Carrie Coon are on there.
now where's he from? It's based on a true story. Reporters Loretta McLaughlin and Jean Cole bravely pursue the story of the Boston Strangler at great personal risk, putting their own lives on the line in their quest to uncover the truth. And, it's a thing about serial killers. It's stuff we love.
Yeah.
You can never go wrong with that stuff. So that's it's really, and it's just great. It's just great. So that's what I watched.
All right, Mike, what have you watched?
Not much. I guess I did watch that
You
John
did.
Mulaney special, which was good. Have you guys ever, speaking of comedy specials, have you ever heard of Felt Face? I'm trying to remember.
What are you even saying?
Let me see if I can find it. So Simon introduced me to this comedian. He's got a YouTube channel, and it's a guy, and well, oddly enough, he's from Australia. And but he
That's a knife.
he does his whole act with a puppet. Like, and it's not like, Jeff Dunham or anything. It's the puppet is the star of the show. It's like Sesame Street. He's like hidden underneath a black table, and it's just the puppet, and he is so freaking funny. God, I should have.
Yeah, like insult.
Oh,
the
here he
comic.
is. Yeah, Randy Feltface is his name. I'll show Jason a quick picture.
Oh, that's a puppet.
Yeah, he's got stuff on YouTube, and I think he's got a couple of his specials on Tubi. I would recommend checking him out. He is really funny, but it's really smart too. It's really good stuff. But anyway, what I also watched recently, trying to catch up on some films I have not seen over the years, based on the piles of movies that were bestowed to me by someone. I watched R.I.P.D.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a sequel out too.
Yeah, there is, isn't there? Yeah, I'm fine without watching that because, I didn't really care.
They tried to make it Men in Black with ghosts, and it's just.
It felt a little too Men in Black, but that wasn't even my real problem. I'm most like, hey, going into it, it's just like it has that stigma of being very Men in Black, but it's still Ryan Reynolds, right? But
Yeah, that was the last hope.
But
Yes, mate.
he really couldn't save it. I thought like the effects work was kind of crappy. I didn't like these weird, puffy, bloated ghost creatures, and some of the mythology didn't, like the world building that they did wasn't either not enough or explained enough or contradicted itself at certain points. But the worst part for me, and I really hate saying it because I love him, was probably Jeff Bridges, because he's doing this thing, this like he's like the ghost of this old West type guy, but he's talking like he's got like a mouthful of chew through the whole movie, and you can half of the movie I could not understand a word he was saying. So, and that's probably just me and my old man ears, but that really ruined the movie for me, especially since it's Jeff Bridges and he's usually super awesome.
Well, sometimes he stops on the show from time to time.
Yeah. He's been known to stop by every now and then.
And then last thing I'll say is I've been kind of on a Danny McBride and David Gordon Green kick lately. Been making Brandy. I've been rewatching Righteous Gemstones so Brandy could see it. Finally talked her into watching it, but
I need to get that watched.
it's so good. It's so good. But I've
I
just
was sorry, but I was a huge Eastbound and Down fan. So
Kenny
Yeah.
fucking Powers.
I've started
Yep.
that one here recently because I just marathoned Vice Principals, which is also really
God,
good.
that was great.
Yeah,
That
that
was
one.
great.
That one's awesome. So, super funny. And man, I don't care what anybody says. I know, and I say this to people all the time. Yes, Danny McBride can kind of be one note, but God damn it, he does that note really, really well, and it's really, really funny. But I'm just convinced the guy is like a kind of a hidden genius. Like he plays these dumb characters, but if he's like co-writing this stuff and co-creating these amazing shows, just there's some genius work going on in the writing of these shows.
If he's got one thing and it works, so what?
Yeah,
Nolan Ryan had one fucking pitch, but it seemed to do him pretty well.
but
Have you seen The Fistfoot Way?
not yet. That's on my
Fuck.
to-do list for
Get
sure.
that, yeah, hit
because
that
that's
up
like
next.
one of his first things, right?
Yes, and it's so fucking weird and funny.
Oh,
You'll love it. It's like no budget little indie film with him
Yeah.
being a fucking complete prick asshole. So good.
Awesome. Can't wait. Anyway, so that's what I watched.
Speaking of prick assholes, Andy, what have you watched?
Why, thank you. Like the introduction. You're just mad because I wouldn't do the dude on cue.
Yeah,
Yeah, you left
Exactly.
me fucking hanging. You left me hanging, you bastard.
I think I liked that. I think
Yeah.
that's funnier than if you did the dude.
Very fragile. Let's see. I have watched a lot. Thanks to Tad, I'm all caught up on Yellow Jackets now, and I think
You're further
that's-
than me.
I wanted to ask Tad what he thought about the last episode last night.
No, I can't. I have to
But
catch
you were
up.
busy, yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't want to give anything away, but if it's the one I think you're talking about, where there's like there's a sway, yeah, I don't want to give anything.
I know.
I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, great show. And I'm glad Tad really kind of turned us on to that. And if you're not watching it, you should be. Let's see. I watched plenty of things. I know it wasn't on last week, but I'll fill you in. I did go see Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
I had
Yay.
fun. I'm on the fence whether they will make another one again. I just don't know if it's got the power to be a franchise. I'm not saying that it's not good, but
I think it made the money to make a franchise, so
Yeah,
Did,
so they will.
did it do pretty well?
yeah, and that's what rules all. So yeah, I think I did pretty
So-
well box office wise. So
Okay, well, I mean, I thought it was a lot of fun, and love the reference to the cartoon.
Yes.
Instantly caught
Oh
that.
man.
Mhm.
Instantly caught it, because I grew up watching it and loving it, and yeah, and there's just one hilarious spot that's just so. Have you seen it, Tad?
Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
but you can
I mean-
spoil. I probably won't, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, just when they're playing like this illusion, because like Chris Pine's character's kind of like this bard, because they're all thieves, but like that's his front. He's a bard that can play like the mandolin or whatever, and his they're fucking the spell up, and his face gets all distorted, and it's just hilarious, and these guards are freaking out, and yeah, it was very good. The wife and I went and saw that. Also saw Renfield.
Fuck yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought it was. It wasn't. I knew that it was gonna be somewhat, kind of slapstick and kind of funny, but I had no idea that it was just gonna be so balls out, just gory, like Evil Dead 2 blood
Yeah.
soaked kind of mayhem, which just made me like it, that much more. I mean, it had great references to like the first films, all the way down to like the classic uh, red and the red and yellow Dracula font, and it
Yeah,
would say
yeah.
Redfield,
That black
or
and white, the black and white beginning, so cool.
yeah. I mean, and they tipped their cap like crazy to this movie, and it was a lot of fun. I'm just like people getting impaled with their own arms, and just I mean, it was just yeah, just it was awesome. Yeah, I know Tad has seen it, but did you guys?
No.
Have you guys
No.
seen it yet?
No.
Oh God, guys,
It's
you'll
streaming
have fun.
now. Yeah, it's streaming now.
You'll have a lot of fun.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Um, Also watched Clerks 3 recently, and I'm not crying, you're crying.
Exactly.
But
Fucking love it.
yeah, that was so got me, hit me right in the tum tum. Just yeah, so good, and I don't want to. I just want people to see it. I just think it was so. It's probably his best movie that he's made since,
Clerks
uh,
2.
Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna,
I love Clerks too.
because the Jay and Silent Bob that
Reboot.
the last Jay and Silent Bob one, he was like,
Yeah.
It wasn't
Not a
great.
fan of that one.
Yoga Hosers,
I
though.
love
I mean, fantastic.
Oh.
Red State, though. Red State.
Red State's
Never-
really good.
I never saw that, and I've never seen Red State all the way through actually. But this one was so good. I mean, I think he's kind of really back to form, like the Kevin Smith that we know and love. And I mean, I'm not saying that he's not allowed to go out and do different things. I mean, I think he absolutely should, but
He's allowed to
Um,
suck.
yes, exactly. Just don't make a second Tusk, please. Um, and I also went and saw Evil Dead Rise, and I know Tad's probably seen it.
Fuck yeah.
He saw the shit out of it.
Oh,
um,
yeah.
I do have like, it's not really a bitch because I think I know why they did it. I really don't think that they need the beginning and the end of this film because it's not necessary.
Neither of you, Mike or Jason, haven't seen it, right?
Nope.
Nope, still haven't.
Yeah. So we won't dig deep into it. But I understand what you're saying, but I believe this was to continue the franchise so we don't have to wait 10 more years for a new Evil Dead movie.
Okay, well, fair enough. I mean, it's just like it doesn't. All I'll say is this: it doesn't matter where the book is because, like, if you want to get like, I think they did this. I think they did this, one, like the reason you said, and two, not to piss off the purist because it has to take place, in the woods or whatever.
Right.
But if you look at it, Professor Nobi, he went to fucking Samaria to get the damn book anyway. It doesn't matter where the book is. It's just an evil book, and it just kills anything within its, it pollutes anything within its presence. But other than that, I thought it was a hell of a good time. I mean, and for some, and I think in this movie, it's more impactful because you see these kids, and they're not, they don't have, their dad's not around, and the mother's just struggling to be a good mom. So I mean, I became more emotionally attached to these characters, in any other Evil Dead movie, to tell you
Well,
the
it's
truth.
first time that it's like that kids, like a family, are involved. It's always been like a group of teenagers in the woods,
Right.
Or adults. So having
So-
kids ups the ante a little bit.
Yeah, and you get emotionally invested in these characters, and then you love to see them fight on, but when when they eventually get turned over, I mean, it was weird because I was like, wow, why am I'm kind of like really kind of bummed out now. Normally I'm just like, okay, well, that turned, but I was just like, I was in the theater, I was watching like, damn, man, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys, please go see it so we can start actually discussing this on the show.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, it's very, it's very bloody, like the remake in 2013. So, yeah, all I gotta say is she's greater. Um, and yeah, you should definitely watch it.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to talk about. So
Excellent.
Cool, Tad. What'd you watch?
Not a whole lot. My very limited schedule has, but I do say I have been lucky enough to have Friday nights to myself. So I've been watching The Last Drive-In. So last week we had an Italian double feature with Zombie and The Beyond.
That was awesome. I missed this last episode.
And then this last episode was Cinco de Mayo episode, which we had Don't Panic and Tigers Are Not Afraid. Obviously,
oh yeah,
I've seen Tigers. I ranted and raved about that in 2018.
I love Tigers, dude.
Yeah, I think it was 2018 or 2019 when we did the top 10. I don't know if it's on my list, but it was at least honorable mention.
on mine.
Yeah, it's fucking fantastic. And having a serious movie that's in another language was obviously not a popular choice amongst the mutant fam, but I love that Joe Bob doesn't give a shit and just does what he wants to do. And he chose a very dark, serious movie as the second movie, which made it a little bit harder to stay awake, but I love the movie. And he gave so much great insight on the movie and the actors, and fantastic. Of course, the whole episode was a great history lesson in Mexican history and Cinco de Mayo and Mexican food. It was one of the better host episodes for those two. The banter back and forth. They got extremely drunk on the episode, which was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Joe, Bob, and Darcy took a lot of tequila shots. So that was a lot of fun. I'd never seen Don't Panic. That's one that should have made one of my birthday parties. This movie is so stupid and bad, but it's a lot of fun. Have you guys seen Don't Panic?
No,
No.
When did that come out?
88, 89?
Yeah.
Vinegar Syndrome.
I think I have it.
Yeah, famously put this out, and they sold the pajamas that the main character
Yeah.
wears with the dinosaurs.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've
Wait,
seen it.
yeah, I have seen it. I know what movie that is now.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
It's very it makes me think of like Miami Connection, because it's like, did a fucking alien make this movie? Like,
Yep.
the main character is like a 30-year-old actor playing like a 16-year-old kid. But the
pajamas.
but the character is like in a race car. He basically has like a race car room. He has like Spencer's Gifts posters up. It's so confusing because he's an old man playing a high schooler, but even the character is like underdeveloped, like age-wise in the movie, because he's got like a 7-year-old's bedroom and he wears like children's pajamas. It's like, how did this get filmed and edited and made, and what the it's a big what the fuck movie, but it's so funny because of that. I had a blast just because Joe Bob had so much fun making fun of it. This is like the perfect, I love this, like what a perfect Joe Bob double feature, a very dark, serious movie about, kids dying and the struggle of politics, and then this Don't Panic, like two very opposite ends of the spectrum. Just a blast of a night. I'm so happy that Joe Bob's on right now. So other than that, I'm trying to think if I watched anything. I don't think I've really been able to catch much else of anything. So that's what I've watched.
All right. Thanks, Tad. And now it is time to get into our movies, our underground movies that we're going to talk. No, not the indie movies, the things that are in the dirt.
We've been over it. I think they get it.
Oh, okay. Jason, what's our first movie tonight?
Our first movie is from 1984, and it's a bunch of letters that spell C.H.U.D.
Beneath the city of New York are living catacombs an endless maze of subterranean tunnels, unfit for anything human. Unauthorized for anything experimental.
Hold it! There's something moving up ahead in the tunnel.
And unlikely to bring anyone down there. So, they're coming up. C.H.U.D. C.H.U.D. Check your basement and your bathroom. Keep off the street and try to hide. But remember, the dark is their place. The night is their time. And tomorrow, the only things living in the city of New York will be C.H.U.D. C.H.U.D. Cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers. C.H.U.D. They're not staying down there anymore.
C.H.U.D.
A bizarre series of sudden disappearances on the streets of New York City seem to point towards something unsavory living in the sewers.
C.H.U.D.
That's right. C.H.U.D. Well, this movie's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm watching this. I hate admitting it, but, you know, Tad's made it okay to say this. I could have swore I'd seen this, but I'm watching it. I'm like, I'm not sure that I've fucking seen this.
Really?
I mean, I think, you know, by proxy, you've seen a lot of the scenes and stuff.
Yeah. Especially shots of the creatures and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of familiarity, but as a whole, I'm like, you know, I'm just not, it just wasn't hitting me like I'd seen it. So,
You know where I saw it for the first time?
where's that?
The last drive-in.
Yeah.
Joe Bob showed
Oh.
it.
So
First
maybe,
episode.
maybe that was it. I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty great. You know, it's nice
What a fucking cast. Are you kidding?
seeing Daniel
Yeah.
Stern,
Home Alone prequel.
John Hurd,
Yeah.
Christopher
John
Kirk,
Goodman.
John Goodman being a douche, but
What was-
clearly
his
him.
partner was the guy that was Rhea Perlman's husband on Cheers. I can't place his name.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved it. You know, it's great. It's 80s crazy. It's Jaws with underground monsters. Right?
I will say, yeah, like when
Why?
I
Because you don't see the monsters for
no,
half
it's
the movie?
we need to close this beach. We can't.
Oh,
we,
yeah.
It's that whole. But you're gonna get everyone killed. I can't. You know, it's Jaws.
I just remember, like, obviously heard the name C.H.U.D. like when I was like younger and getting into horror and stuff. I started when I was a little kid, you know. It was like C.H.U.D, Critters, Ghoulies. It fell into that thing. And like I just remember, like, as a kid, I just assumed like they were just small little. They fit into that subgenre of weird small
yeah.
creatures. And then when I first saw it on Joe Bob, I'm like, oh, they're fucking like human size. Okay, interesting. You know.
Did anybody think that? And I don't think it was Buck Flower, but the guy that was had the knife and was talking about the sky that was falling. I got a big time Buck Flower vibes from that guy.
Anytime you have like a bum with a beard, it's gonna be Buck Flower vibes.
But I mean, he looked a lot like him, like a younger version of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just. I mean, if I'm interjecting here, but I mean, I enjoyed it too. Like, you know. The McAllister dad, and of course, you know, the you know, Daniel Stern was, you know, looked like he smelled like BO and you know, weed, and
Yeah, never have you been able to visually smell a person more than Daniel Stern in the movie
exactly, exactly. But yeah, you've got the typical, you know, 80s corporate, you know, villains in this, you know. It's just like, you know, you don't get to cross my red tape, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just like, you know, but, you know, that's okay. That's why we love these kind of movies. But Yeah, I mean, and of course I love, and I think Mike will concur on this one. Like, I love seeing like early '80s, late '70s, like the kind of sleazy New York kind of
Yes.
vibe, like the Abel Ferrara.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, like that kind of vibe, and it gave off a little bit of that, not so much as Abel, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
good
definitely
stuff.
had some sleazy New Yorkness to it, which is one of the many reasons why I love this movie. I feel like probably it's more nostalgia love for this movie than anything else because you don't get the chuds for quite a while in this movie,
Right.
and there's some scenes where it's like, okay, obviously they had big ideas and not the budget because there's the diner scene. You just hear a bunch of screams off camera when the chuds start showing up outside the diner, and then cut to a bloody massacre has happened, and the cops are there, and you don't see any of the mayhem. It really feels rather jolting the transition from the chuds showing up outside the diner to the next scene. But when you do get chuds on screen, they're freaking awesome. I love the look of the chuds. I love their eyes glowing. I love the one that, for no reason other than having the long enough neck to get cut off by a sword, but no reason why a chud's neck would stretch out, in like Evil
Yeah,
Dead
what
2
the
style.
Yeah, only
get-
to get cut off.
Yeah,
Only to get cut off by a sword.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when they die, their headlamps go off. Did you notice that? Like
Yep.
the lightning bug ass glow goes out of their eyes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this movie's like way more story driven than chud driven. With all the
Yeah.
it really, really, really leans into the environmental issues and the government conspiracy issues and all of that. Because you're following two sets of characters around through this whole movie. You get Daniel Stern, the soup kitchen cook, and you get the police detective whose wife has disappeared, and then you get the couple, the photographer and the model, all of which, the two sets have no connection to each other whatsoever, other than just trying to figure out the weird stuff that's going on with the people that's living underneath the city, and eventually they kind of come together, but. You're just following these four people around through this whole movie trying to figure things out. It really reminds me of some Larry Cohen stuff too, from that era, like Q, the Winged Serpent. You don't get a ton of Q in the movie. It's a lot of like, what's going on? We're cops. We got to figure this out, kind of stuff, and then actually getting the Winged Serpent, and and the whole New York, dirty New York stuff too.
A lot of
But-
New York. Yep.
Oh,
Shot
yeah.
in New York.
Yep. Yep. But at the end of the day, I love it. I think this was like a staple on the USA Network back in the day. Not just Up All Night, but it's like on Saturday Nightmares or Commander USA's Groovy Movies. I think I saw that movie over and over and over again on USA Network. But
Yeah, I'm
Love it.
sad it's not on Shudder for the last drive-in episode's not on there currently.
yeah.
I don't know if they have the Just Joe Bob episode of this up, but that's too much involvement for me. But if it pops back up, it's a fun way to watch it. Just his insight on it is a lot of fun.
Awesome. What trivia do you have for Chud?
Let's see here.
I forgot I hate this movie.
Wait, what?
Because the end. And Bosch.
Oh, because yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, fuck you, movie. Anyway, I guess you can put two and two together on that. But anyway,
Doesn't
sorry.
die.
Well, does he?
Did he?
He says good shot.
Yeah, and then what?
And then
Credits.
yeah.
So
Doesn't he fade
this
away?
might. I was gonna say that this
shot.
might pop up.
And fuck Jason Bollinger.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That's what he did.
I heard that. Sorry, Tim.
This might pop up later in shoutouts, but this was part of Jordan Peele's inspiration for Us. And
Yes.
you can actually see a VHS of Chud in the movie.
Oh, nice.
It's like when they're showing that like people around the world video on the TV, you see like a VHS tape on the entertainment center.
That's awesome.
Laura Matos, the movie's first on-screen victim, is the real-life wife of Mr. Daniel Stern.
Oh, cool.
In 2011, as an April Fool's joke, the Criterion Collection announced that they're putting out C.H.U.D, which is just mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Assholes.
That's pretty funny.
The original concept art of the C.H.U.D, which you can see in the still gallery on the Anchor Bay DVD release and probably Google, shows that their faces looked more animal-like in appearance.
Okay.
And in issue 32 of Fangoria, producer Andrew Bonheim referred to the film as an expensive-looking film and an expensive concept. It's a high-quality kind of picture.
Gotta sell them tickets.
So yeah, most of the rest of them are like film debut of this person. Of course, Daniel Stern and John Hurt, like the whole connection. John Goodman early film, but yeah, those are the trivias that I found interesting.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Sweet. Thanks, Tad. Now I'm going to turn it over to Tad. What's our next movie?
I'm stoked for this one. The next movie is The Descent.
Now just give me a smile.
Juno, are you sure we're going the right way?
I've never been lost in my life.
There's only one way out of this chamber, and that's down the pipe.
I'm stuck. I can't breathe.
Okay, Sarah, you have to calm down. I'm coming back, okay? Okay. Okay, move! Now! Now! This is not good, guys.
We get out of here. Which way?
I don't know. Sarah thinks she saw someone back
So
there.
what?
I don't think I saw someone. I saw someone.
No, you heard something and you saw what you wanted to see. It's the dark. It plays tricks on people. Ah! Please! Is there anybody there?
I told you I saw someone.
Batteries on our lights will run out.
All right, a caving expedition goes horribly wrong as the explorers become trapped and ultimately pursued by a strange breed of predators. So this is written and directed by Neil Marshall, who at one time was the most exciting up and coming horror director. Not so much anymore, but there was a time when he was just knocking them out. This movie scared the shit out of me when I first saw it.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it still gives me so much anxiety. You could take out the fucking creatures and it gives
Don't
me
even
anxiety.
need them.
I was
Yeah.
going to
Nope.
say that.
Yeah, the very beginning when that cave starts caving in on them when they get in there, fuck that. I'm already out. Like, I'm checking out. Like, just watching it for the, I don't know, 5th time this past weekend, I'm like, God damn it. Like, I know it's coming. I know what happens from this point forward. Why am I still, like, why am I breathing shallow? Like, why have... But that's such a good, it's a good sign of good filmmaking.
Right.
So basically, there's a traumatic accident at the beginning of the movie, which is a real surprise for those who have, if you watch it for the first time. Sorry, Barth, spoiler.
Yeah.
But sort of leads to the story about these girls going on this big cave expedition to get their friend's mind off of a horrible accident that killed her daughter and her husband, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Very Final Destination kind of death too.
Yeah, very brutal. Pull through the face. But things don't go as planned, and one of the girls decides they're going to explore, without telling the rest of them, an uncharted cave. And when they get in, their exit caves in, or I guess for lack of a better word, crumbles in. So they have to find their way through. And if that's not scary enough, which is scary enough for me, but if that's not scary enough for you, there are some creatures that live down here that have evolved or devolved, depending on how you see it. These pale bat-like creatures that are blind, but they are very sensitive to sound. And yeah, it's pretty much gigantic human bats that fucking shred anything that they can hear to pieces. Very violent, quick, no zombie-like movements. These things are fucking gnarly, and it gets very visceral, very quick. Lots of great practical effects. Lots of great sound design. Lots of great reveals when you first see one in the distance. They don't show it right away. Of course, they don't hide it as much as C.H.U.D, but when this movie steps on the fucking pedal, it does not let up, and it gets awesome. So then it just becomes these creatures versus badass women, and spoiler, only one survives. But I assume everyone loves this, right? I mean, or are you wrong? Because if you don't, you're wrong.
Or are you wrong?
Or are you wrong?
I have one question for you guys now. Did you guys watch the unrated or rated version?
I don't remember. I mean, I know there's two different endings. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I like them like either way. But I prefer the unrated version.
So is that the one where she gets out, she gets to the truck, and then she wakes back up that she's in the cave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ugh.
That's the version I saw.
That's the version I watched. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the unrated. The rated version just cuts off where she sees an apparition of her friend in the rider's seat of the Bronco that she's in, and then she screams, and then it just cuts off.
Yeah.
That's a little less bleak, but man.
Yeah, but I mean, it just makes so much sense to me because I think she was on like a lot of medication, and I don't think she took it with her, if I remember correctly. She took the pill and then set it on her dresser in that cabin.
Yeah.
And so
a lot of PTSD.
Yeah. But wow, what a ride. You're dead on with because I think this is the second time that I've seen this, and I thought I was having a good time watching it. Because it had been years since I'd seen it because I own the Blu-ray. I just haven't visited it in a while. And yeah, just like you said, great practical effects, like when I believe, what is it, Holly breaks her leg.
Right away,
And the bone,
yeah.
and the bone is protruding out, but I mean that was good. But when they're trying to set it from like there was a little bit wider shot, and they're pushing on that thing, and then there's blood spurting out of that thing. I'm like, oh.
She's got
God.
a handful. She's got it like her hand like wrapped around her leg bone and pushing it in, and it's just like being able. It's so bad that you can hold it. Like that's to me like awful.
Yeah, that's like close to like might as well just amputate the damn thing.
Yep, just take it off or leave her there. Sorry.
Yeah, just leave her for peace out. But yeah, and the rarity of this, it's just like, you don't see a cast primarily of just women. And it's, not the thing that it's just something you don't see. Even you didn't see it in 2005, you don't see it, now.
It's sort of like the female version of The Thing, where it's like a group of women isolated in this cave. Obviously, there's no like shapeshifter, but they're dealing with something that they don't know what it is and what's going on, and trying to trust each other.
Yeah.
Because some of the women are holding information out from each other. And they were in this situation because somebody not trying to hurt them, but made a grave mistake of like not telling anyone where they're going and not including the group of what they're actually doing, thinking this is going to be a good thing, and obviously was not. It bit them all in the ass,
Shitstorm.
figuratively and literally.
But yeah, definitely love this film. Great set design. I mean that low ceiling cave with like all the body parts and the blood and that pit of blood, and when that female I don't know, crazy bat lady comes out of, just sloshes out of there and just comes at her. I'm just like, oh god, great stuff. Even just the visuals of the landscapes that Neil Marshall got, of just the beautiful countryside that they're in. I mean, it just, everything just looked really pretty and really well shot and just well done. And like you guys said, you almost don't need, the bad people, but just the nervous tension of, being lost and claustrophobic. And yeah, it just fires on all cylinders. It's a great movie.
Yeah, you don't need the bat people, but I still love that they show up. I will take cave chuds all day long. I thought they looked cool. I mean, it's not like High Tension where you get that twist and it's like that was completely unnecessary. It's not like that where that's not what we're saying. At least that's not what I'm saying, that like that we don't need them. They're still fun, and it still makes the movie fun and cool, and
it takes them to the next level.
The
movie's already at a claustrophobic.
But yeah, I think this is definitely
ups the stakes like a mother.
I cannot think of another movie that makes me as uneasy as this movie with the whole claustrophobic.
For real.
When that one girl's just trapped in that little. There's moments still. I've watched this several times myself, and there's still that moment there. I kind of have to turn away from it, and it's not gory. It's not violent. It's just you're just like anxiety level
helpless.
To 1,000. Yeah, because your brain you start going into her situation, and the idea of just like not having any control of where I can move. That's just terrifying. Forget about it.
The only other movie that I can really kind of compare this to is probably, and it is just to do with the caves and nothing to do with like the bad people or anything, would probably be As Above, So Below.
I was thinking the same thing because it's got that scene, right, where the guy gets stuck, and he starts to panic. And that scene right there, I was thinking the exact same thing, Andy. That movie right there, I mean, it's a great movie, but it's just that one scene in particular that just totally parallels that feeling that this movie gives me.
Well, I actually hate this movie. Because it's too scary. It's too scary.
You hate it for the right reasons.
I know, I love it. How about that poster, huh?
Fuck yeah. Based on
cool poster, yeah.
Yeah, it's based on an old painting, or maybe an old sculpture or something. But yeah, I mean, everything on this, they fucking knocked it out. Like poster, trailer, movies. I mean, everything. This is like Neil Marshall's grand opus. Come on,
for real.
Yeah, he's gonna have a hard time topping this one.
Well, he hasn't since, really.
No.
Kind of wonder what happened. I mean, some of his later stuff,
Game of Thrones stuff, didn't he?
Oh,
yeah, but not like that's not creative. He's doing that for money,
right?
I mean, not to shit on him. That's nothing wrong with that. But as far as we're talking, like written and directed, like this is his baby. Like this is his. Doomsday was cool as hell.
Yeah, I was gonna say I still like Doomsday and Dog Soldiers, but
I still haven't watched that Hellboy remake yet.
I did, and does not feel like a Neil Marshall movie.
Yeah,
that was another paycheck, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's not horrible, but we had one that worked. Why do it again?
Has anyone seen The Lair just last year?
I think Brian Clark saw it and had horrible things to say.
Oh, no.
And his tolerance is very high. So.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about his taste in movies.
Well, that too, but I mean,
Remember,
but his
C
to-
to Chucky is his favorite from that franchise.
I love you, Brian.
his tolerance for shit is higher than anybody's.
I know,
and
it's true.
Yeah, yeah, and if he says something's bad, then it's gonna be
Oh,
bad.
Tales of Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did some there.
It's just a
But-
Tales
bummer.
of
Like
Halloween.
I don't know.
I
if
actually
just-
watched Tales of Halloween with Neil Marshall.
Oh yeah, you told us about that. He was there, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I was
Partied
at a
with him.
film festival, and him and Adam Green were debuting it. I just happened to be in Colorado because I got into the screenwriting competition there, and there was 2 empty seats next to me, and they were introducing like blah blah blah. We hope you really like it, and they just come down, and Neil Marshall plops down like right next to me.
Andy's watching him introduce it, and he's like, he's got his hands rubbing together, like 2 empty seats. I wonder where you guys are gonna sit.
I wasn't like that, but I was just like, oh shit. I looked over at Danielle and just like
You put the
first thing
popcorn
that
in your
popped
lap,
into
and
yeah.
The hole in the bottom
the
of the
hole
bucket.
out, yeah. Some popcorn, Neil, Mr. Marshall. I buttered it.
I buttered it. Oh my god.
No, but the first thing in my mind, it was just like, I remember Tom Savini when he said, when I go to the movie that I worked on, I don't actually watch the movie. I watch the people react to it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, is he going to be like Tom Savini looking at me?
He's just going to
like,
stare at you the whole
looking-
time.
like looking at me react to this. So it's like, and I can't give him side eye because he's probably gonna think he's gonna catch me and I'm gonna be some kind of weirdo, But, so I just kind of just watched the movie and I talked to him a little bit about it, and he was really cool, and I was just like, oh, that was so cool. You got Adrienne Barbeau to redo her role from The Fog. Yeah, he's like and I can't do like, oh, he gave us our best Stevie Wayne, stuff like that. But yeah, he was. I mean, he wasn't like really short with me, but he was actually really really cool. So yeah,
It's just funny to me. I'm thinking, man, Neil Marshall, sitting next to Neil Marshall ruined the experience of watching this movie for you. You were too subconscious about him watching you.
it was definitely it was cool, but it was kind of weird at the same time.
Yeah.
It was just like, am I gonna should I be laughing at certain spots where that he would expect me to, but what if he doesn't? And I'm just like, oh, yeah, it was cool, but it was weird.
Or laughing at the wrong spots. People do that in my movies all the time.
But Tales of Halloween's actually a really fun movie, but it's not all Neil Marshall.
Yeah,
so.
no. Cool. Now we're all in unison on this one. So what do you got for trivia on The Descent, Tad?
this was Neil Marshall's last great movie. No,
Oh.
wouldn't that be mean? The crawlers were designed to resemble Nosferatu. They also had huge white eyes to begin with, but the idea was done away with because they looked too silly. It took 3.5 hours of makeup to transform an actor into a crawler. They had to shave off their body hair as well, which is not too surprising. I mean, I can definitely get Nosferatu vibes with the sort of pointy ears.
For sure.
I thought, watching it this time again, like getting a good close look at it in HD, I was like, man, like even the makeup and stuff is really fucking cool. Like, I don't know how I'd like to watch this on like the last drive-in just to see how he got this made. Like, because it wasn't cheap. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe he's off the tracks because his stuff he's making is like no budget, where this does not feel cheap at all. Like maybe they saw High Tension and were like, this, because I think High Tension was before this, right? I assume.
Well, yeah, High Tension's not Neil Marshall though.
Oh, why was I thinking that was?
Because I brought it up. Aja Alexander is
yes.
The Piranha guy.
So I don't know how he got this made, but I'm happy he did. Let's see. The filmmakers considered it too dangerous to film in an actual cave. It would have been far too time-consuming, so they opted to build one instead. They built 21 separate cave sets for the film. But they reused them at different camera angles to get the most out of them. The appearance of the creatures was kept secret from cast members until the first scene in which they encounter them was filmed.
That stuff's always fun.
Yeah, when the cast were finally filming the scene when the girls encounter the crawlers, the girls were genuinely scared and screamed the building down, running off set and laughing. Oh, here you go. Production on this film was fast-tracked so that the movie could be released before the similarly themed American film, The Cave. Unfortunately, it opened the same week as the 2005 London bombings, which considerably hurt the film's chances at the box office.
Yeah.
Let's see. The jokey production name given during filming was Chicks with Picks.
Oh my Lord. That's good.
I love your comparison to the thing on that.
Yeah, that was great.
That really makes a lot of sense.
comp.
A female version of the thing, and
Th-
the
this is really-
distrust and all that.
This is really cool. Neil Marshall shot many of the crawlers at 18 frames per second with a 45-degree shutter to give them a staccato movement. Sort of in that time frame, a little overused in some of those types of movies. Like, it makes me think of like some of the J-horror stuff, but in this movie, I think it's so cool and effective.
Yeah, I mean it's unnatural, but it feels natural. If that makes sense, it feels like this. That's how these things move.
And here's one more, which sort of goes back to what we were talking about. The poster was borrowed from a portrait photograph by Philippe Halsman of Salvador Dali, entitled Salvador Dali in Voluptuit Mors. The photo itself was inspired by surrealist Dali's gauche female bodies as a skull painting. The same imagery is also used for the poster for The Silence of the Lambs.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's where we get the inspiration.
Awesome.
This has tons and tons of trivia, but that was just some of the fun stuff. But go to IMDb. There's you can scroll and scroll. There's some fascinating stuff in here.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Andy, saving the best movie for last. What's our next movie for the show?
Well, our next movie, it's a movie, is from 2015, and it's called The Sand.
Vegas rules, bro. No tweets, no Facebook, no MySpace.
Nothing leaves this beach.
Where is everyone? Are you stuck? Oh my God. Don't touch the sand!
Somebody want to tell me what just happened?
You saw the sand! It ate everyone.
Drive the car over here and let's get out of here.
Start the car, Jonah. Start the car.
The car won't start. We're all gonna die, man! This is crazy! We're all gonna die!
Like a monster? I don't believe in monsters.
After an all-night graduation beach party, a group of hungover 20-somethings awake to a beating sun and a seemingly carnivorous beach that devours anything with a heartbeat that touches the sand. Okay, yeah, kind of interesting concept, but it's
welcome.
just, yeah, not just horrible special effects.
I would say acting, writing, special effects, pacing, cinematography.
Yeah, it's just the acting is. Oh.
Was this a sci-fi original? Jesus, man.
It totally feels that way, especially with the freaking CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I'm telling you though, this is another one of those examples for me that I'm not blaming the actors. I'm blaming the writing and the directing. Because
Yeah.
if those words that came out of their mouths were on the page to begin with, it feels like it's all the dialogue in this feels like my old high school ad-libbed movies where we just dump blood on each other. That is like the intelligent level of the dialogue in this. They can't help that they have to say these shitty lines.
I completely agree. I actually like the actors in this.
Yeah.
But it's just the story is so small that it's so much of this movie is stretching it out.
It is very, and
it shows and it hurts the movie.
And I'll tell you, I'm glad I watched it because I love that. And I always say I love movies with like small locations, single locations,
Right.
not a big cast.
Yeah.
And if they can suck me in for an hour and a half with such minimal, story and location, whatever, then I feel that's good. And I say it that way all the time with no examples of when it's done wrong, when it's done bad. And now I have one.
So something good came out of this. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's just proof to me that I'm just not a sucker every single time it's a single location or whatever.
Yeah, it seemed like, anytime, like, especially with Gilbert, not take anything, away from him, but it's like his dialogue was whenever somebody said something he didn't like, it was just like his go-to was just to say fuck you to people.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? I mean, I heard him do that. Like, fuck you! And okay. Yeah, it's like just lazy writing and just typical drunk teenagers, well, 20-somethings in this case, sorry. Nobody heard anybody screaming while this thing was like eating all their friends at night. But okay, fine. We'll go with that.
Right.
Just some of the even the ending of the movie was just like, okay, was the boyfriend, did he eventually die in that SUV? Because the two girls just walked off together. They hated each other, by the way.
Yeah.
And that other guy is like looking in there and he says something like, "Oh my God," or like, "What's wrong with you?" or something like that. Or and you don't know if the guy's dead or not, but
you assume he is.
There's so many logic problems with this movie. The whole first 15 minutes happen, and then they're like, "Oh, there's this guy stuck in a trash can that we could have clearly seen and acknowledged once."
Exactly.
That's been there the whole time, but we just now see him. I hate that shit.
Here, everybody out there listening, if you want to see this movie, I'm gonna sum it up how bad it is, but with one character, and that is a man is stuck in a trash can through the entire movie with a dick drawn on his face. That's the movie you're getting with The Sand.
Guys, I'll be honest though, like, I know this movie is bad in so many ways, but I still kind of liked it.
Cool. That's awesome.
I mean, sure, it has hot girls in it, and that helps. But I don't know. I don't know if I was just overcome with. I struggled with it all day. I'm like, how am I going to say I liked it when it's so bad?
Is it
Be true to
conceptually
yourself.
that you like the? Because you and I talked a little bit over the weekend about it, or yesterday, and like we both saw that trailer and we're kind of like intrigued by it.
Mm-hmm.
Just execution wasn't there. Like just the idea alone of like, if you just step one single tiny toe on this sand, you're done. You're done.
Right.
And you get these little phalanges that come up through the
Floor is
sand.
lava.
It's that should have been the name of this movie. It is literally Floor is Lava game. Yeah.
Well, it's and the thing is, they talk about all these 20-somethings being hungover. When I saw like Jamie Kennedy come on there, I was just like,
Ugh.
he looks like he showed up to work on this movie hungover. Jamie
Yeah.
Kennedy looked like shit in this movie.
He looked bad.
But I'll tell you,
It took me a bit to recognize him, which is bad.
But at least the improv don't
Yeah,
shit.
me too.
and that's the thing I go back to is like, was any of this dialogue written? Because everyone else is doing a horrible job with their dialogue. And you can tell he is a professional actor in the sense that his dialogue sounded way better than anything else they were saying. You know, it's bad when Jamie Kennedy is your favorite character in a whole
Well, he
movie.
probably had more experience than everyone else put together.
That's
on
what I'm
this, so,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just I'm glad that I got to see you and you really destroyed any expectation I could have had.
Did that help?
I think it helped. Like you said though, right away, like I don't think it's the actor's fault because I thought they were actually good actors. They just didn't stand a chance because the story was so thin and it was so stretched out, and they
and there's no meat and potatoes to this dialogue. It's
No,
all just like
no.
back and
Filler.
forth of like,
Let's stretch this out, man.
help him, help me, don't touch the sand, fuck you, fuck, it's all just the minimalistic of dialogue, but they have to stretch it out for an hour and a half, right? It's all reactionary dialogue with no substance. I mean, the one point where they try to have like a legitimate character building conversation, and then it just feels so out of place in the whole movie anyway.
I'm just getting pissed again. They like reference the phones are in the trunk right at the beginning, and then they just go on without worrying about it for 20 minutes, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, we got phones," and then it's like, I'm like, from the second you sit.
It takes them over an hour to realize if they walk on something on the sand, they won't get attacked.
It's just,
even though they know they can't touch the sand. That's why they're stuck in their car or in the lifeguard shack.
Yeah,
or in
so
a trash
they
can.
know. Yeah, they know they're fine in the places where they are. They can't move. Yeah, and it takes them that long to think about it.
to figure out like, hey, let's lay something on the sand and walk across that.
How pissed were you getting during the hot dog scene? You're just like, what are you even doing here?
Is it worth it? Yeah.
What is happening with this hot dog scene?
I'm blanking on the hot dog scene.
Just
And
throwing
those
it.
two girls
see
in that
where the
convertible
thing
are so damn stupid. Like,
Yeah.
why would you want to stand on the bumper when you could, probably shimmy down to the front of the car, grab one of those surfboards that was working
man.
that you saw work earlier, put the surfboard in front of the trunk, stand on it, and then open the trunk.
So many logic problems.
Well, logic problems. I talking about how if they just figured out sooner to lay something down to walk across the sand, but that's not even right because the jellyfish monster. By the way, people, it's a jellyfish monster.
Sorta. But yeah, but I do like that they can just move the shit out of the way. That's kind of neat.
But it attacks the car. It's like
Right.
it's like deflating the tires. So it's still aware of inanimate objects and where the people are. So you're telling me walking across this this thin wood railing, like a balancing act across the sand, is going to keep you from getting attacked? It's got to know it's there, right?
Yeah.
Just based on everything else that they set up. And was it just me? So they get in the raft, right? We're getting close to the end here. They
Yeah.
get in the raft. They get into Jamie Kennedy's vehicle, and the one guy is like badly hurt, so they got to help him into the car or whatever. Didn't one of them just literally get out of the raft and was standing in the sand in order to help the guy in the car, or is that just
They
me?
were on the fire, the fire part.
Oh,
I
okay.
think they were standing on the fire, where the tendrils wouldn't touch
Okay.
them. But,
All right.
but if they can deflate tires, how fucking easy are they going to go through an inner tube?
Yeah, that raft, which like the bottom of that raft, you would think the creature would feel the movement on just that one little thin piece of rubber. We're like trying to over logic this stupid movie.
He's definitely.
Oh man, there's like 3 people left. They're trying to get to the sheriff's car, and then the one girl knocks herself out, and the movie comes to a halt while we wait for her to wake up. Like, what is the pacing? But at the same time, I'm not mad. I like it. I kind of liked it. And, like, why didn't Tentacle Dude come out at the beginning? Or why did he have to wait to the end? I don't know.
The tentacles?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have enough money to show more than one shot.
Okay.
Like we're giving more airtime to the shitty movie, and we praise the Descent less. What the fuck is going on?
How much waxing the car can we do about the Descent after all these years, right? But I don't know. Maybe I was really trying to help this movie out in my brain as it went on, but like I took the tentacles thing as that it wouldn't come out until at night.
Sure, because it looked prettier.
And it glowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little pissed that the Mitch dude, the nerdy guy who was in the tower with the lead girl, bit it.
That was kind of a nice surprise, actually, though. As cookie cutter as it feels like most of this movie is, I was expecting him to survive because he's.
But they spent a lot of the budget on his death, though, which was neat. It looked horrible, but it was neat.
And that's the biggest disappointment for me, is that how terrifying concept again. Just asphyxiation is a very scary death for me.
Yeah.
And the idea of getting sucked down into the sand,
Yep.
I feel like so much potential of that was lost with this bad CGI stuff. It just looked so bad, but it could have been cool.
I'll tell you one thing. You want to know what the best part of this movie is?
What?
The score.
Oh,
Do
it
you
did have a
know
good
why?
score. Oh, why?
Well, first, I should ask if you all agree, if you like the score or not, if you remember, if you're already too pissed at the movie.
I don't remember it.
Anyway,
I don't.
The score was done by Vincent Gillios.
Yes, nice. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, he did the score for our movie Collapse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. We're 1 degree away from the sand.
I know. How great is that? Us and Jamie Kennedy. Fuck.
We're like this.
We're like, oh.
Well,
Anyway, Vince,
I guess now's as good time as any to announce that Jamie Kennedy's coming to Halloween Palooza, right?
That's right. That's not right. Anyway, Vincent, I know you're listening. That was a great score.
Great. It was a good score, yes. I kind of liked how the movie started, too, where the whole beginning of setting everything up happens via a cell phone.
I know. I was like, is this found footage? What's happening?
Yeah, at first I thought that. But I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be that because we watched I watched the trailer. But I kind of like how they were setting everything up just based on this party footage on the cell phone, including why they decided to carry this slimy egg thing to the fire, which was...
Come on. Duh.
That's just natural shit you find on the beach.
That's true, yeah. Well, believe it or not, this movie can be found on Tubi.
What?
I know. Same with our movie. You can watch it on Tubi. Anyway.
Well, I feel like, I don't know, I kind of feel like I was bogarting a lot of this. And did Tad or Andy have anything more they wanted to say?
I just wish, I've said all I need to say, but I just think, I wish Gilbert would have survived the whole movie, so he's like still out there in a trash can, with a dick on his face. So, that would have been a better ending for me.
Yeah.
No, I'm sort of like Jason, where I'm like I hate it, but I also don't hate it. Like,
yeah,
we've watched some really bad stuff, but it's like not. It's not it knows it's not perfect. It knows it's not great. I will say I started watching it, fell asleep. Because I think I watched this like after the last drive-in a few weeks ago.
Holy crap!
Tried to, fell asleep, woke up and there was some other You know how Tubi does. It's like, oh, you watch this, it goes right into something else, and I woke up very confused. Turned off the TV and went back and fast forwarded to where I I think I fell asleep right at the surfboard scene. And I will be honest, I was very, very tempted to just not go back and pretend I watched the whole thing. But I'm glad I did, because when you guys were talking about the tentacle thing, I would have been like, yeah, sure, guys, whatever. Yeah, that was really cool. But I had to know what happened to the guy in the trash can.
Yeah,
so not a good ending for him, but not that there was going to be. But yeah, the little logic things, I mean, even like a character leaning on a railing and it breaks and he falls down. It's like, come on. Like you have one thing, the floor's lava, guys. The floor's lava. Like when you're 7 years old and you're playing in your living room, don't touch the carpet. The floor's lava. It's really simple rules. How can you completely continue fucking this up?
Yep.
But there wouldn't be a movie if there wasn't. So
I mean, if it was me in that situation, I just would have stayed inside the lifeguard shack itself, right? Like, I'm not even going to risk going anywhere close to the edge of it.
Yeah.
So, Tad, what kind of trivia do you have for The Sand?
This film was shot in 12 days, which is 11 more than I assumed. At least one version of the opening credits reads Killer Beach, but the closing credits give the movie title as The Sand. In 2012, filming started in California, and filming was completed later that year, but it was not released, or was released in 2015. This might explain the quality of stuff we have here, guys. Director Isaac Gabeff said in an interview that they were originally working on pre-production for a drama about 4 people in a sailboat going between islands in Hawaii, but there was a sudden problem that caused the film to collapse, so he and the producers had discussions about what to do. Everybody still wanted to move forward and make a movie, so he started looking at scripts, and right away The Sand emerged as a clear winner from that process. I'd love to see what else he was working with. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, Nikki Lee in the character, she became a Playboy Playmate in May 2012, just before they started filming. So she's basically cast because she was willing to perform nude.
Yeah.
Good for her.
That's it.
Great. Okay.
Very talented.
All right. Well, that is it for our film discussion on this episode. But fear not, folks. We still have more Attack of the Killer podcast to come. When we come back, we're going to finish off the show with our segments. But first, you're going to hear a promo for our podcast network called the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. The PFPN is home to over 30 shows, such as Atomic Weight of Cheese, where cult cinema is real life and real life is frequently cult cinema. Hosted by Mike, Chad, and Steph, 3 people who love movies, movie culture, pop culture, and nostalgia. You can listen to Atomic Weight of Cheese and all the other amazing shows at thepfpn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the show, and now it is time to hear from you guys, the listeners. Here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for
Shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, we asked, what are your favorite Attack from Underground horror movies? And these are your answers. Up first, we got Jacob McLaughlin. He says, Tremors is my favorite, by far. Well, he's right.
Yeah.
But I also love Us. Oh, he loves us, guys.
Yay,
that's so great. I am amazed how Jordan Peele is able to take high, but sometimes near unwieldy concepts, and he just goes for it with the weirdness. I've seen many people say that the movie starts to fall apart when things are explained, but it worked for me. Then we got Timothy Lennerer. He says, Tremors is the gold standard for subterranean homesick monsters attack blues. The sequence where the Gummerts are thought to be casualties and then fight back is a masterclass in sound effects and film editing, with the look at the back wall of the rec room giving audiences the biggest laugh and the biggest adrenaline charge of the film.
And one of the best quotes in cinema history: broke into the wrong goddamn rec room, didn't you?
The Boogans is quite good.
Yes, that almost made the list, guys, but I couldn't find it playing anywhere.
And it features one of the best animal performances in anything ever. Points off for never really giving the audience a good look at the monster, which looks sort of like a homicidal Neopet. Blood Beach takes the bronze, but it's surprisingly well thought out monster flick with a good performance by John Saxon and Burt Young as cops who have to deal with a human devouring ant lion type creature, but you barely get a single glimpse of the monster in that one.
Not until the very, very, very end of that movie.
Right.
Blood Beach. All right. Next up, we have our newest attacker, Emily. She says, Barbarian was the first movie to stick with me for a while.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I also can't.
God, yeah.
Yeah, for real. I also can't forget the classics Nightbreed, and Texas Chainsaw 2.
Yeah,
I love how the attackers are thinking outside of the box.
For real.
Because those are correct answers that I never would have thought of.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, Barbarian completely slipped my mind, and it's like probably one of the better underground movies that's been put out.
Emily has a couple more too. She says, and I also love 10 Cloverfield Lane. I feel it was better than Cloverfield. I agree.
Agreed.
That was on our Facebook page. It's over on the group. Or it's the opposite of that. I'm not sure. Oh, we got Brian Clark. Speaking of... Tremors is one of my favorite movies of all time. 2, 3, 4, and the TV show are a lot of fun too.
He's going to be big mad at me.
The Strangeness is a fun, low-budget monster flick.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Black Scorpion has some truly atmospheric underground sequences.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid, but yeah.
The Burrowers is a fine genre-bender horror western.
See, I thought about that one on the list too, but then I'm like, someday I think we're going to do a western.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So that's got to be on that one.
Yep.
Ghost Town needs to be on that one.
Oh, yeah, another good one.
And lastly, Grimm is prime 90s direct-to-video man-in-suit monster fare. Grimm.
Sweet.
Tim Lennerer chimes back in. He says, Kevin Bacon shot a decades-later pilot for a Tremor series, but it didn't get picked up. Apparently, one entire episode was going to be about trying to cross a street without getting attacked and had no dialogue. That sounds like they were swinging for the fences, right?
Oh, that just kind of opens my brain up to all the possibilities you could do for random episodes for a show like that.
And then lastly on here, we got our attacker, Stefan Sitter. He says, the first Tremors movie is my all-time favorite when it comes to horrors from underground. I mean, playing the ground as lava has never been portrayed better in horror cinema.
It's true. It definitely does it better than the sand. You got to admit that, right, Tad?
Yes, yeah.
We had nothing on Twitter, but over on Instagram, hey, there he is, Old School Video Inc., the Reebster. Ooh, fun one. Gonna go with my very underrated Midnight Meat Train.
Yeah, I saw that.
Subway
on some
movie, right?
Yep.
He says half of My Bloody Valentine takes place underground.
There it is.
There you go.
That's an obvious one. And special shout out to the Boogans.
Yes, another one for the Boogans.
The trailer was creepy and awesome when I was a kid and still sticks in my memory. The movie was pretty decent, although the creature itself was a bit underwhelming, but still love that trailer.
Man, Boogans, C.H.U.D, just goes to show there was a lot of cocaine in the 80s. Who was naming these movies?
I know, right?
I love how not to go back to our first movie, but in that trailer, they're like, cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers, C.H.U.D. Like, we get it. Like, and they do it over and over again. Like, we're really clever. Did you get it? Did you get what we're saying?
It's not quite on torso level, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just those words
Torso.
together, cannibalistic, humanoid, underground dwellers. It almost sounds like some failed 80s cartoon show, like a Mask or a Captain Planet or something.
Like it's a made-up word. You're not that special. It's C.H.U.D. That's not a real.
But if you watch the
I know
movie,
Kevin Smith
C.H.U.D. has
likes to use it as an insult, you know.
Well,
He keeps calling Dante a hideous fucking C.H.U.D. doesn't he?
well, we got one more. The red light's over there beeping, Mike. Hit that button.
I got it.
Hey, everybody, Attacker Brian here, and it sounds like the podcast crew this week is talking about underground horror. And I remember a watch party. I can't remember the name of the movie, but we did a watch party, and we watched a movie about people in a mine. I don't remember what that was, though. I do remember My Bloody Valentine that happened mostly underground in a mine. Not sure if that qualifies, but I did see that movie at the Capitol Theater on the big screen, and it was amazing. Put it right up there. That one's probably my favorite if it qualifies. But if we're talking about strictly underground, I think the 1956 classic, The Mole People, black and white, great special effects. Nothing like rubber masks, black tops, and rubber gloves. And it sounds like it's getting a remake. Oh, and I remember being surprised, going to the theater, and seeing The Descent. Was really, really surprised with The Descent. Love that movie. Not sure I've seen the second one. I don't think it's very good if I did, because I don't remember. Hope you guys have a great week. Keep your feet underground and keep reaching for the stars. Bye-bye.
Who is that guy? What was that? He told me, he's like, I think I rambled on too much. I don't know. That's pretty funny. Speaking of, though, have you guys seen The Descent 2 or 3
No,
or 4?
somehow I haven't.
Not, yeah.
There's only 2, I believe.
Okay.
And I've heard it's great.
I heard it's like a direct sequel, right? It pretty much
shit.
starts where the last one left off.
I've heard it's really good. I just have not. I'm almost afraid to when it's
Right.
like a really, really good movie that I don't want to tarnish in any way.
Yeah. Well, you guys, too, can also get your voice played on the show. Leave us a voicemail at 415-952-6857. That is also known as 415-95-AOTKP. Leave us that voicemail. Get on the show, and that is shout-outs.
1-800-CHUD.
No, that's not it. I'll look it up, though, and see if we can get that. But until then, we got one more segment to go. It's Insane's Picks.
Going to some sci-fi sex comedy for this Insane's Picks. Going to the year 1989 for this one. I'm talking about the film Dr. Alien, a.k.a. I Was a Teenage Sex Mutant. Directed by Dave Dakota. It stars Billy Jane, a.k.a. Billy Jacoby. I'm a huge fan. He was in Parker Lewis Can't Lose, Bloody Birthday, just one of the guys. It also has his little brother, Bobby Jacoby, in it, playing, well, his little brother. We all know him from, how ironic, he's from Tremors. It's also got Judy Landers. It's got Stuart Fratkin. We would know him as Styles from the Teen Wolf movies. Jason would know him from the comedy classic Ski School. And it's got the who's who of 80s Scream Queen and B-movie stars, like Ginger Lynn Allen, Michelle Bauer, Karen Russell, Elizabeth Catan, Laura Albert, and of course, Linnea Quigley. Wesley is an unpopular honor student, played by Billy Jacoby, who becomes involved in an experiment headed by his new biology teacher, Miss Zenobi, played by Judy Landers. As part of the experiment, he gets injected with a formula that causes Wesley to become becomes a chick magnet whenever a weird tentacle pops out of his forehead. However, this threatens to alienate the girl he really cares about, Leanne. This is a fun and funny movie that, if you were around my age, you've probably seen it on USA Up All Night. It's highly low budget. It was produced by Charles Band. It was shot in 19 days, yet despite its budget and short shooting schedule, the film has some cool and fun, good performances, some really awesome makeup effects, and some good production value as Wesley, he kind of gains his confidence through all these sexual endeavors and kind of becomes the cool kid now and ends up becoming the lead singer of a rock band and performs at this club where Miss Zenobi, who turns out to be an alien, and she starts shooting up the place. So it's got a little bit of production value to it as well. Greg Cameron did the effects for the film. Like the phallic-like tentacle that pops out of his forehead, and the giant alien head that Judy Landers had to wear at the very end of the film. And it's really cool because it's like 3 times the size of her normal head. It's like a really big head, but its eyes still like move and blink, and it's a really cool looking head. So I highly recommend checking it out. Do yourself a favor. Check out David Dakota's 1989 comedy classic, Dr. Alien. And that is it for this episode of Attack of the Killer podcast, guys. It's over. We did it.
Yes.
Done. I want to thank everybody for listening. Make sure to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And if that is not enough Attack of the Killer podcast, go to jointheattackers.com and become an attacker and get even more. So thanks for listening. Keep your head in the... What did God still say?
Keep your feet underground.
Keep your feet in underground and your head to the stars or something.
Keep your head out of your ass.
That's way better.
Yeah, that...
Perfect. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Talk to you again next time. Bye.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Attack of the Killer.